I did it, guys. I've become the Persona registered trademark 5 Strikers, and I have some thoughts. P5S's announcement could not have come at a worse time. I believe it was around the same time Joker was announced for Smash. So when P5S wasn't Persona 5 Switch, but a Persona Warriors game, I was bummed. I don't have a problem with Warriors games, especially ones that are crossovers with series I like. I love Hyrule Warriors. I just wouldn't associate Persona 5 with massive sprawling battles. And seeing how the Warriors games I have played are laid out, I was just cautious about this idea. But then I heard they were adding a bunch of elements from Persona 5 into it, like an overworld. I was in. 70 hours a game later. It's really good. So first, let's slap open this complaint box and see what I have to complain about. Bunch of minor nitpicks. I have a bunch of small issues with this game. The most nitpicky thing I can think of is that this game tries to have dialogue during boss fights. It works in P5 because you can just not do anything and let the lines play out. But here, it's an action game, so there's constant noise coming from the fight, and I can't hear shit. Alice, stop it! It isn't very cash-money, so the world isn't a very cash-money place. It's not a big issue, it's just annoying. I want to hear what they're saying. They should have lowered the audio while someone is talking, so it's audible. Wait, can you just summon your persona and pause the fight and hear it that way? Another nitpick. I wish the game gave out more SP healing items, especially late game when your shop selection is very limited. I wish they would have had the main shop you go to refresh more. I have like 2 super bosses left and around 6 SP healing items. So no matter what, those fights are going to take a long time. Even if I can force the shop to refresh after entering and exiting a dungeon like 5 times, what's the point? Stop wasting my time and let me do it once to refresh it. Speaking of bosses, I found their difficulty curve very weird. The first jail's boss was the hardest for like half of the game for me, exclusively because it was early game and I didn't have a lot of money or SP. It's the only boss throughout the whole game I bothered to learn the attack patterns of, because I needed to. After the first jail, it's very easy to have enough SP healing items that you can just f*** up a boss with spells it's weak to. Around the 4th jail, that stopped being an issue though. I think the game just needs better balancing, so having a lot of SP doesn't mean fights are quick and easy, but having little means they're long and tedious. It's a Warriors game. Fights shouldn't be taking too long anyways. It's weird saying a balancing issue isn't a big problem, but it's really not. I would have liked if the game handed out more Persona points too. It's the fastest way to level up your Personas, and to get all of them, you're going to need a lot of PP to level them up without grinding. I would have gone for the Platinum, but I have a lot of Personas to level up. If I'm going to have to fight that many dudes to level them all up, I'm just going to do it during a new playthrough. But I don't want to do that right now, or Google the fastest way. Next complaint. Let me hang with the boys more. Some more one-on-one moments with the Phantom Thieves would have been nice, just to get a better idea of what they're doing with their lives. You get a general idea of what everyone is up to, and in the second town you get deeper insight on a character of your choosing. I feel like everyone should have had that deeper moment anyways, and then late game, you can get an even deeper moment with one character. Most they do is everyone gets a side quest and a small chill sesh. It's been a year. How is Haru doing at college? I don't know. I didn't take her on that date. Last complaint. Sofia, more like, so what? I really don't care for Sofia that much. No fault to her. I just don't care about her character that much, or where the game went with her. My favorite moment in her story isn't even because of her, it's because of Ryuji. Speaking of Ryuji, that "and I" bit at the beginning of the game is the second worst joke in the Persona 5 cinematic universe. It's tough to explain why I don't care about Sofia that much, because I don't, really have a reason. It doesn't help that I find her way less interesting than Kasumi and Royal. Maybe I'm just still cheesed that when I saw the cover, I initially thought that redhead girl was Kasumi and not her, which is just an extension of me being annoyed that this game is a sequel to base P5 and not Royal. Why the hell did I play Royal last year then? I just don't vibe with her. And whenever the game was like really focusing on her, I just wanted it to move on.
Alright boys, I think I figured it out. I think it's because when the game really focuses on her story, it's late in the game, and I was starting to get burnt out at that point.
Maybe because it's a spin-off, I'm naturally going to care less about the characters that were added. Zenkichi though! Complaints are done. He is definitely the main reason why I don't care about Sofia that much. How do you expect me to care about a cute little AI anime girl when you introduce her next to God-tier dad? He's introduced very early on, and I was pretty invested from the start. It definitely helps that they use him to introduce the main story of the game. As the game goes on and explores this character, I couldn't help but get attached to him. He's got some of my favorite bits throughout the whole game. I love the arc he goes on, and the conclusion to it feels so good. He is easily one of my favorite characters in this series. Moving on to the characters we already know, this game rectifies the late game party member syndrome that P5 had, and allows all the Phantom Thieves to constantly be involved with the plot. Some characters do more in some arcs, but overall, everyone is allowed to contribute to the plot, even after those arcs. It's no longer Futaba and Makoto basically figuring everything out like it was in P5. Haru has lines. That's a miracle. For the most part, it's just more of the characters that you know and love. The voice actors are clearly having a blast, and it makes the game way more enjoyable. And you can tell that some of the characters have grown over the last year. Futaba is more open with everyone, which is fine, until we get her cringy gamer TM lines. Luckily, only a few lines are really bad, and only one of them comes close to.
Is he some kind of key item? Please?
Sorry. That tends to happen whenever I hear that line. Don't worry, I'll be fine by next video. Most improved goes to Yusuke. In P5, I needed him to be like 10 meters away from me at all times so I could feel comfortable. Here, he's socially adjusted. Like, he's still a weirdo, but now he isn't a creep by mistake. Overall, good job with the Phantom Thieves. The story's good, and the villains are fine, but I more so like how the game uses them. Instead of palaces, we have jails, and the leaders of those jails are monarchs. When we were getting the backstory on the first monarch, I noticed how it was kind of similar to Ann's. Then near the end of the jail, it shows how her and Ann shared a lot of experiences growing up. I started looking at her like an alternate universe Ann, where the Phantom Thieves and Joker never came into her life. Like, this is the path she could have gone down. It continues to do that with the other monarchs and Phantom Thieves too. I think it's the best thing about this game's story. Haru even mentions it near the end of the game. Haru, of all people, gets a line that important. I did find a few things that it does predictable, but not story ruining. I think I just like how all of the P5CU games expand and question the themes from the original, excluding the dancing game. I haven't played it, and I am not touching that. Shockingly, the game quite literally plays like a Persona and Dynasty Warriors mashup. Everything is laid out like a Persona game until you get into a fight and it turns into a quick Dynasty Warriors battle. With the little I played of Age of Calamity combined with Strikers, I've been really impressed how Omega Force has been integrating mechanics from the games they're crossing over with. This feels like a Persona game with Warriors mechanics, not a Warriors game with a Persona paint job, which is what I was worried this game was going to be. I like how Personas are used, especially after a 3 or 5 hit combo. You can use a Persona skill 3 of charge for most characters. It doesn't feel forced like I thought it would when the game was announced. Hell, there's no KO counter. Excluding Sofia and Morgana, I like how all the characters play. Some of them do start out feeling kind of similar, but as the game goes on, they get skills that make them feel more unique. I use Joker way more than the other characters because he still has his multiple personas, which is something I thought they were going to cut, but I still use the other characters a good bit. It's interesting that they took the worst part of Persona 4's gameplay loop and put it in this game. I found the investigations way less annoying here than I did in P4G, so I didn't mind it that much. And I love how the game is a road trip with the boys. It gets you hyped to leave Tokyo, and it's a cool callback to what P5 was going to be. The thing that stuck out to me the most was the music. The Warriors games have always done a great job of taking existing bangers and making them slap even harder without making them feel like generic rock covers. I got hyped whenever the game played Last Surprise. I haven't been able to say that since Joker first came out in Smash. That, Blooming Villains, and Rivers in the Desert all have amazing remixes that blow the originals right out of the stratosphere. I like jazz as much as the next beat, but I greatly prefer rock. I didn't like that they didn't remix songs that play during dialogue. I have played Persona 5 once and Royal once. I am sick of hearing those songs. The new lyrical songs are great, and they made the best Persona 5 song ever. Daredevil is a masterpiece and is way better than Life Will Change, which might be my hottest take in the video, which is the only lyrical song that's in both games that isn't remixed in Strikers. Can improve on perfection, but you can't outdo it with better perfection. Daredevil is so good, dude. For me, I can tell I'm going to like a song in a game when I get around like 3 seconds in and I say to myself, oh fuck, that happened with this song. Twice. In the bridge, how the song builds up and just nuts before going back into the chorus is perfect. It is easily one of the best moments in any P5CU song. It's a moment that when you get to it, you turn up the volume. The rest of the soundtrack is on the same level as P5. I have one more thing I want to talk about before I get into the score for the game, but it's kind of spoilery, so if you don't want any spoilers for Strikers or P5, skip to this time code on screen, or just mute me until this spoiler tag is gone. I like to refer to Rivers in the Desert as the fake final boss song. In P5, it first plays on a fight that feels like a final boss, and the next time it plays, it's during a fight that also feels like the final boss, but neither of them are. Why do I bring this up? Because around the time of the Okinawa jail, everyone was talking about how the journey was wrapping up soon. Having played P5, I knew that was a lie. Even during the Osaka jail, everyone kept talking about how it was the last fight. A small part of me was starting to believe it. They kept saying it, but I couldn't fully bring myself to believe it. Then Rivers in the Desert started playing in the cutscene before the boss fight, and it confirmed to me that there will be at least like 10 more hours of game left. And I was right. I fell for your shit once, Atlas. I am not falling for it again. I will never believe a character in any game they make when they say that this is the last fight. Only for the first time though. Maybe the second time. As good as Strikers is, the gameplay loop doesn't reach the heights of Persona 5's. Without a timer, you can do more in a day, but there's basically nothing to do outside of the dungeons, which is fine. At its core, it is a Warriors game. It's a little sad that they nailed integrating Persona's combat, but not the rest of the gameplay loop. I saw some people saying that they found the jails repetitive, but I didn't mind them that much. That's why I'm only bringing it up now. Is this better than P5? No. Is it way worse than P5? No. It's a sequel that doesn't fall too behind the original, but it can't catch up to it. It's a solid 8.5 out of 10. I had a great time with it. I highly, highly, highly recommend this if you got to the end of P5 or Royal. Odds are, if you put 130 hours into a game, you like it, so you should play this, just to get more of the Phantom Thieves misadventures. If you don't like P5, don't play this. Unless your only problem with it is that it's a turn-based RPG. If you hated anything else about it, don't touch this. And if you want to play this, but haven't played or watched P5, go play Royal. What are you doing playing this first? This game kind of feels like the last P5CU game. If so, goodbye Phantom Thieves. It's been real. At least until Atlas pours out Joker to today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legend.
Lingered in silence, not one single week of bells for one.
Do you agree? Think I'm an idiot? Comment down below. Dislike the video if you think AI Girl is better than Zenkichi, and subscribe for more bad content. Follow me on other platforms if you want. Take care, guys.
Got to run me through. Hold on, think again. Don't you know what you're starting? But you never see it coming.